Hi, my name is Sean Fagan and welcome to the Broncos Sports Weekly, the first show of its kind on WMUBroncos.com. Every week we'll be bringing you highlights, recaps, and interviews from around the world of WMU athletics. Let's take a look at what happened last week for the Broncos. The Bronco football team had its 2011 home opener this past weekend, defeating the Nichols Colonels by a score of 38-7. Quarterback Alex Carter threw 2 touchdown passes, and running back Brian Fields ran for 2 more as the Broncos defeated the Colonels in a wet one at Waldo. The men's soccer team split a pair of matches this past weekend, falling to IPFW by a score of 2-1 on Friday before rebounding for a 4-0 win against the Loyola Ramblers on Sunday. The cross-country team hosted its fall invitational and came in second at the George Dales Invitational hosted in Three Rivers. The women's soccer team lost a heartbreaker to the University of Michigan, a score of 1-0 in a match played in Ann Arbor. And the women's volleyball team finished with a 3-0 record at the Morehead State Invitational. Ashley Turnage was named tournament MVP, and Jessica Brown was named to the all-tournament team.
Bronco football opening up the 2011 season at the Big House against Michigan, and the WMU offense would look good in the first quarter. First drive of the game, quarterback Alex Carter under shotgun finds Kleb Revenell at the 1, and then just a few plays later, Antoine Scriven would score to make it 7-0. The Broncos led 7-0 after the first quarter. Unfortunately, the Wolverines overcame the slow start to take the lead, and inclement weather cut the game short. Michigan ended up winning by a score of 34-10. Jordan White, though, 12 catches, 119 yards. Bronco volleyball, coming off a 3-0 weekend at the University of Virginia, hosted North Carolina in the first home match of the 2011 season at the Holiday Inn West Invitational at University Arena. However, on this night, the Tar Heels would be too much for the Broncos to handle. North Carolina would take the match by a score of 3-0 and would eventually win the tournament as well. So a rough start to the home schedule for the Broncos. This young fan needed consoled by Buster. But the Broncos would bounce back. They would get right back to it the next day, taking down the Liberty Flames by a score of 3-0. Setter Taryn Norris had a double-double, tallying 37 assists and 13 digs. And sophomore Lena Oliver set a school record with 34 digs in a 3-set match. Finally, the Bronco football team would host the 2011 home opener against the Nichols Colonels in a 7 p.m. game at Waldo Stadium. The Broncos relied on a steady dose of the run game. They gained over 200 yards on the ground and got 2 rushing touchdowns from running back Brian Fields, including this run in the second quarter that would put the Broncos up by 2 scores. Alex Carter threw 2 touchdown passes, including this late strike to Robert Arnheim. The Broncos would win by a score of 38-7.
5 things to watch this weekend. Number 5, the men's and women's tennis teams will open up the 2011-12 fall seasons on Thursday. The women's tennis team will start in Wisconsin as they travel to the Milwaukee Tennis Classic, while the men head to Purdue for the Purdue Invitational. Of course, the men's tennis team, the defending MAC regular season champions. And look out for women's tennis next weekend back here in Kalamazoo. They host the Fall MAC tournament. Number 4, the women's golf team will open up the 2011 fall season at the Golf Weeks Conference Challenge in Vail, Colorado. Meanwhile, the cross-country team, coming off a second-place finish at the George Dales Invitational, will travel to East Lansing for the Spartan Invitational, hosted by Michigan State. Finally, the softball team will open up their fall ball season at the Traverse City Fall Ball Tournament. Number 3, the volleyball team will wrap up their non-conference tournament schedule at the In-Towner Tournament hosted by the University of Wisconsin. The Broncos are 8-1 so far this season, the best start to a season since 1996. If you're looking for a player to watch, check out for Ashley Turnage. She was the tournament MVP at Morehead State. Number 2, there will be lots of soccer action in Kalamazoo this weekend as both men's and women's soccer will be home, including the first men's-women's soccer doubleheader of the season. The men's team will host Wright State on Friday at 4 p.m. in Fraternity and Sorority Day on the pitch, and they'll host Valparaiso Sunday at 2 p.m. for International Student Day. That will be part of that doubleheader as the women's soccer team will host Illinois State Sunday at 11 a.m. Women's soccer will also be on the road this weekend. They'll play Wright State on Friday. Finally, number 1, there's a pretty important football game being played at Waldo Stadium this Saturday. No, I'm not talking about the Kalamazoo College home opener. The rivalry is renewed. The Western Michigan Broncos will host the Central Michigan Chippewas at noon on Saturday at Waldo Stadium. The Broncos are 1-1 this season, coming off a 38-7 win over Nichols. Lots of fun stuff planned, and we're sure we're going to see you there. There really wasn't any question, was there?
I'm now sitting down with the Director of Media Relations for the Athletics Department at Western Michigan University, somebody who has overseen a lot of the changes that you have seen at WMUBroncos.com and came up with the idea for the Broncos Sports Weekly. I am talking, of course, about Matt Kanan. Matt, glad to have you here.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Matt, let's first talk about this website redesign we've seen at WMUBroncos.com. Obviously, about a month ago, the site saw a huge aesthetic change, a larger center panel for photos, different organization for stories, a video portal, etc. Talk about why those changes were made.
Well, everybody talks about athletics being the front door to a university, and the front door to an athletic department these days is your athletic website. So we wanted to really kind of make it much more dynamic, focus more on video, and with our website partner, New Lion, we feel we were able to do that.
Overall, though, how has your job as a media relations director for the athletics department changed because of the rise of internet access? Obviously, the website has always been a very important part, but have you seen that some of the other aspects that were traditionally parts of the job that were much more related to printing materials or hard copies of materials, how much has that changed?
Well, a couple years ago, the NCAA decided that no longer were athletic departments and coaches going to provide printed media guides to recruits or prospective student athletes. So that really kind of changed the outlook of the purpose of the media guide and the look of it. That coupled with budget changes across the country, it made it more important to minimize the printed effort and focus more on the online effort, and I think we've been able to do that.
And one of the things you've been very proactive in is the use of the interactive guides that we've seen online. And the interactive guides, as you said, are much more video-oriented, much more active content, push content, as opposed to forcing somebody to consume something on their own.
Definitely, and because we want to give our fans an experience, whether they're experiencing an actual athletic event, on the soccer pitch or at the football stadium or the basketball arena, we also want to bring them back to our website and give them an experience there as well, and that's what we hope those interactive guides do.
Yeah. And I use the word proactive, and one of the things I've been very impressed by at Western Michigan has been how proactive the media relations department has been in trying to uncover new forms of content to produce. And tell me a little bit about why that is important for a school like Western Michigan, the Mid-American Conference, a major NCAA conference, but still considered one of those mid-majors. How is that important that a school like this be innovative?
People are going to get their information from wherever they can and wherever it's easiest to get it. So we figure if they're looking for information, let's be the ones to provide it to them, whether it's on our website, through our Facebook page, through our Twitter accounts, through our YouTube channel, which this show will be airing on, as well as WMUBroncos.com. We want to be the way people get their information about Western Michigan athletics. Obviously, the media in our area, regionally, nationally even, is a great bonus, but when it comes down to it, we need to be the official voice for Bronco athletics.
Okay, let's talk about this weekly wrap-up show. This was an idea that you had come up with some time ago, and we worked through some of the planning stages of it to try to make this a reality. And talk a little bit about what people are going to see on this show on a week-to-week basis.
You just kind of hit the nail on the head. It's a weekly wrap-up show. We want to give everybody in a 15-minute package what happened over the past 7 days, give them some added information. If they didn't have time to maybe read an entire recap from a game on the website, they're getting the quick points right now. Also, provide information about what's coming up over the next 7 days. Not only what games are going on, but also what's going on in and around WMU athletics with information on non-athletic events, promotions, giveaways, that sort of thing. And then also we want to kind of have that the ESPN Fox Sports kind of flair where we're going to provide a highlight package and we're going to tell you about the action that's going on. And then every week we're going to do our best to provide a sit-down interview like we're doing now with someone representing Bronco sports.
And let's make one thing clear. This is not a product where we're just going to be covering basketball and football. This is truly all-encompassing of Bronco athletics. This is going to celebrate every student-athlete. I believe over 400 in the department, and they're a major part of our community, and we're really excited to give everybody content about everybody.
I completely agree, and that was one of the reasons for why we wanted to come up with this web show, because you're right, we do have over 400 student athletes, and as I always like to say, every one of them has a story to tell, and that it's our job to tell those stories. So we hope that this show becomes kind of that weekly output for that.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, hey, thanks a lot for your time, Matt, and we look forward to more Bronco Weekly Sports.
Thank you very much.
That's going to do it for us this week. We thank Matt Kanan for giving us his time today, and we hope you'll join us next week on the Bronco Sports Weekly. Same Bronco time, same Bronco place. And if you're watching this on Tuesday morning for our initial launch, women's volleyball tonight, 7 o'clock at University Arena.
I'm Pat Schiffer, a senior forward on Western Michigan's men's soccer team, majoring in aviation flight science and aviation administration. The aviation program is exciting for me because I get to do a lot of different kinds of flying. Private, commercial, instrument are all different ratings we offer, as well as getting a certificate for being an instructor, seaplane, multi-engine. The sky's the limit. I'm a Bronco, and I am the power of gold.